Why do some men effortlessly command desire, attention, and respect, while others, no matter how kind, loyal, or hard-working, are discarded without a second thought? Why is it that the more a man invests in a woman emotionally, financially, even spiritually, the faster she seems to grow cold, distant, or restless? Most men never stop to ask this. They simply suffer in confusion, trapped in a loop of failed relationships, false hope, and emotional exhaustion. But the answer isn't hidden in self-help books or rom-com philosophies. The brutal, unfiltered truth was exposed nearly 2 centuries ago by Arthur Schopenhauer, a man who dared to strip the illusion of love down to its raw biological bones. What he revealed was so uncomfortable, so deeply unsettling, that even modern society continues to deny it. But once you understand it, you'll never look at human relationships the same way again. Schopenhauer didn't romanticize the human condition, he dissected it. He stared directly into the abyss of desire and saw a system, cold, relentless, and engineered for one purpose: reproduction. What you call love, he saw as nature's bait, a chemical con designed to manipulate behavior toward a single biological goal. That electric feeling of falling for someone, the flutter in your stomach, the obsessive thoughts, that's not connection. That's evolution calculating compatibility, assessing fertility cues, sniffing out genetic advantages like a predator tracking prey. You think you're choosing. You're not. You're being chosen. By instincts you don't control and desires you barely understand. Men project meaning onto these instincts. They write poetry about it, fight wars for it, destroy themselves to protect it. But women? Their instincts operate differently, more covertly, more pragmatically. While men often view love as sacrifice and legacy, women approach it from the cold lens of evolutionary advantage. Their biology is tuned to detect strength, dominance, resources, and social standing, not kindness, not morality, not fairness. When a woman says she's looking for a nice guy, what she means, whether she knows it or not, is that she's looking for a powerful man who is nice to her. These are not the same thing. This is why devotion in the absence of dominance repels. Schopenhauer wrote, "To be loved, one must not be just but clever." And that cleverness isn't manipulation in the conventional sense. It's dominance in disguise. It's the ability to influence her emotional state without supplication, to create tension, excitement, and unpredictability, to remain an object of desire because you are fundamentally unknowable, independent, and above her attempts at control. Devotion that lacks this power dynamic isn't seen as noble, it's seen as weakness, and weakness, no matter how sincere, is punished. Modern men are taught the opposite. They're told to be emotionally available, to open up, to serve, to prove their worth through sacrifice. And then they wonder why their relationships end in disaster. They don't realize they've been operating under a myth, a romantic delusion designed to benefit others at their own expense. Schopenhauer didn't just reject this myth, he exposed its origins. He observed that women are ruled not by logic or reason, but by instinct and emotion. An observation modern science now confirms. Their behavior isn't random, it's ancient. It's embedded in their DNA, and once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. Look around. Dating apps, for example, where a majority of women filter out 80% of men and compete for the same top 10–20%. These aren't anomalies. These are reflections of mating algorithms baked into the female brain. Women are choosers. They hold the biological leverage. Men are pursuers, compelled by instinct to earn approval through performance, status, and dominance. When a man forgets this, when he begins to believe that relationships are built on emotional equality or fairness, he begins his own destruction. How many men have destroyed themselves trying to win love through consistency, through proving their reliability, their loyalty, their emotional openness? only to watch the woman they adored walk away at the first sign of a more exciting option? That wasn't bad luck. That wasn't betrayal. That was nature. Nature doesn't care about your feelings. It cares about replication. And once you've served your purpose, once the thrill of the chase has vanished, the biological program initiates its next directive. Move on. Seek higher genetic value. Avoid stagnation. Schopenhauer called this the tragedy of possession. Women are programmed to chase what they cannot fully control. The moment they secure a man, their instincts begin to shift. What was once a thrilling conquest becomes mundane, and biology urges them to seek novelty, dominance, and perceived superiority. This is why the man who makes her the center of his life, who rearranges his world to fit hers, ultimately becomes invisible to her. His value collapses the moment his need for her becomes too visible. But this isn't female cruelty, this is evolution. And once you stop taking it personally, you start to see it strategically. The men who win in this system aren't the ones who try the hardest. They're the ones who understand the rules. Rules written in DNA, not in fairy tales. Schopenhauer's insights are terrifying not because they're cynical, but because they're undeniable. He revealed that women do not love the way men do. Their love is conditional, calculated, and tied to utility. It is not about who you are, it's about what you are, what you represent, what you can provide, and whether you remain desirable compared to other options. If you fall behind, if your income drops, if your ambition fades, if your body weakens, if your social standing erodes, so will her affection. You will not be cherished for your history. You will be assessed based on your present and your potential. The love you thought you had will vanish like a hallucination, leaving you wondering whether it was ever real. And in a biological sense, it wasn't. It was a conditional response to perceived advantage. Once the advantage disappears, so does the response. This is why you see men destroyed after divorce, after breakups, after years of emotional investment that suddenly mean nothing. They gave everything, believing that love was sacred, permanent, moral. They didn't understand that they were being measured, not loved. Schopenhauer didn't blame women for this. He blamed nature. He understood that biology programs women to seek out and attach to the highest value male available, and to reassign their allegiance the moment that value shifts. You can observe this pattern in every layer of society, from kings betrayed by mistresses to average men abandoned after job loss, from the explosion of social media attention to economies where women curate endless streams of male validation to the brutal efficiency of hypergamous selection in online dating. The pattern is not new, it is simply more visible than ever. Women don't need to be conscious of this process. It's not malicious, it's instinctual. Most of them couldn't articulate it if they tried, but their actions follow it with mathematical precision. They're not looking for love in the way you think. They're looking for survival advantage. And when you understand this, the entire landscape of relationships shifts. You stop expecting loyalty from an instinct. You stop expecting permanence from a system that rewards change. What Schopenhauer understood, and what modern men must relearn, is that power, not devotion, governs attraction. That emotional dependence repels, that overinvestment signals lower value. The man who commands desire isn't the one who proves himself, it's the one who remains elusive, sovereign, untouchable. The moment a woman senses that she controls your emotional state, she loses respect. And respect, once lost, cannot be recovered. You can't buy it back. You can't talk your way into it. You can't earn it through acts of service. You reclaim it only by becoming what biology respects: dominant, independent, and indifferent to her approval. That is the foundation of male power. Not cruelty, not manipulation, but strategic detachment, rooted in an understanding of human nature as it actually is, not as you wish it were. The man who masters this doesn't beg for love. He becomes the embodiment of what love instinctively seeks. And when you become that man, the game changes. And when you become that man, the game changes. Women no longer look at you as someone to shape or mold. They respond to your frame, they follow your lead, and more importantly, they fear losing you. Not because you're cruel, but because you don't need them. That's the paradox Schopenhauer understood long before modern psychology confirmed it. Neediness kills attraction, while detachment fuels desire. A man who understands this becomes psychologically untouchable. He doesn't chase, he doesn't over-explain, he doesn't negotiate his worth, and women sense it instantly. He isn't cold, he's simply grounded in himself. He moves with a quiet authority that signals, I do not derive my value from you. And that, more than any compliment, any gift, any grand romantic gesture, makes a woman submit. Not because she's being manipulated, but because her biology responds to strength, not sentimentality. The tragedy is that most men will never reach this state, not because they can't, but because they won't abandon the lie that if they're just good enough, patient enough, giving enough, she'll finally see their worth. But she already does. She just doesn't feel it, because worth without power is invisible. You can be the most loyal, ethical, loving man alive, but if you lack presence, decisiveness, and edge, you'll always be her second choice, her backup plan, her emotional support while she dreams of someone else. You don't fix this by becoming cruel. You fix it by becoming sovereign. You stop waiting for permission to be desired. You stop asking women what they want and start becoming what they instinctively crave. That means building yourself into a man of competence, discipline, mystery, and emotional control. It means detaching from validation, withdrawing from the approval economy, and cultivating the inner stillness of someone who cannot be moved by praise or rejection. This is not arrogance. This is necessity. Schopenhauer's philosophy wasn't about bitterness. It was about clarity. He saw that the only way a man can maintain his dignity in a world that treats his affection as expendable is by mastering himself. By understanding that women are not the enemy, but neither are they the reward. They are a test. And if you fail that test by becoming dependent, predictable, or overly invested, you will be discarded, not because you're evil, but because you became boring, safe, unchallenging. And biology hates stagnation. This is why the most dangerous man isn't the richest or most handsome. It's the man who can walk away at any moment without emotional collapse. Because he doesn't view love as salvation. He views it as an addition to an already complete life. He doesn't bend himself into shapes to please her. He builds his life in such a way that she must adapt to him or be left behind. And women feel this, not just consciously but viscerally. They align themselves with such a man because he triggers what no amount of kindness ever could: reverence. Reverence is not fear. It's not intimidation. It's respect, rooted in awe. It's the sense that you are something rare, something she can't quite own, predict, or manipulate. And that feeling keeps her chasing. The moment she believes she has fully figured you out, that she controls the emotional temperature, that your world orbits around her, she will withdraw. Slowly at first, subtly, but eventually, completely. Not because she stopped loving you, but because the frame collapsed. You must never collapse the frame. You are the sun. She revolves around you, not in a tyrannical sense, but in an energetic one. Your mission, your purpose, your discipline, they are your gravity. Without them, there is no center, and without a center, she drifts. Schopenhauer's warning to men wasn't to avoid women, It was to understand them so completely that you could engage without losing yourself, to love without worshipping, to desire without depending, to protect without surrendering your identity. The modern man is drowning in confusion because he was taught that love means merging, sacrificing, dissolving boundaries. But women don't respect that. They may thank you for it, even cry over it, but they will never desire it. Desire is born from distance, from polarity, from the dance between certainty and unpredictability. When you give all of yourself too soon, you kill the very thing that drew her to you. The answer isn't emotional suppression, it's emotional discipline. You must feel deeply, but never let those feelings drive your behavior in ways that sabotage your power. She will test you. She will provoke emotional responses to see if she can break your frame. Not consciously, but biologically. And if you break, if you become reactive, clingy, insecure, the respect evaporates, not slowly, instantly. That's the brutal efficiency of evolutionary psychology. So what do? You build. Yourself first and always. You construct a life so grounded in purpose, challenge, and growth that no woman becomes the center of it. You become the mountain she wants to climb, not the pillow she cries into when she's bored. You remain kind but not soft, present but not predictable, loving but never dependent. That's the man Schopenhauer hinted at, the one who knows the truth about women and still chooses to engage from strength, not illusion. And when you reach this point, something fascinating happens. Women begin to pursue you. Not for your looks, not for your money, but because you represent something their biology demands but rarely finds. A man who cannot be conquered. Not because he's closed off, but because he is fulfilled without her. And that fulfillment is the ultimate aphrodisiac. So no, the truth isn't that women are evil, it's that nature is indifferent, and if you wish to survive and thrive, you must play by its rules, not your feelings. Let others drown in romantic delusion. You will walk forward, sovereign, grounded, and unshakable. Not to manipulate, not to dominate, but to transcend, to become the rare man who can love without losing himself. That's what makes you dangerous, and that's what makes you free.